This is the Game Jesters Gaming Update Podcast here in episode 39. So, we want to do this episode and talk about, as you see on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, we are going to PAX East 2020. So,
Yes,
we will have a lot of news about that for this podcast. But before we dive into the news and everything we have to talk about on the podcast, we want to jump into our usual or little gaming news. I'm going to start out with the slower stuff, move on to the little bigger stuff, and then we'll go into PAX East. So right away, I'm going to go into movies and rush through them so we have more time to talk in the end. So we have a few things with less movies, TV shows, I guess. There's one movie, two TV shows. The Sonic movie, we've been talking about that, and that finally launched last week, this week? I think
two
it's
record
still-
opening numbers, by the way.
Yeah.
Had the best video game opening of all time, just beating Detective Pikachu, which just last May set the record. So it may actually beat that record that it set for most popular or highest grossing.
Yeah, and I'm really glad because I'm giving them support just because they listened to what audience said, went back, spent a lot of money to rechange and make it the way we wanted it. So I'm happy they did that, and I think they get the support just for that alone. So I'm
A
glad.
quick
it's
question
so
before we move on, but do you think that was you don't think that was like a marketing stunt, like that they really designed like a bad character just to get a negative reaction, and then it was like, oh hey, well we got the reaction we were looking for, but we really are redesigning the character, and it was just like a marketing ploy?
See, it's possible, but I'm really judging by their reactions and the way they took it, and I really don't think it was. I think they just thought that was fine, and then they got backlash and they got crap for it. So I'm pretty sure that's the way it went. I don't think they planned it like that.
All right, and you didn't see the movie yet, right?
I did not see it yet, but I've watched the trailers, the new trailers. I've read up a lot about it. The reviews, they're doing pretty good. The only thing I've seen, like people, I guess it's all people our age who are hardcore fans, and they're all like, what the? There was an owl in the beginning. They're not in the game. And it's like, well, some things you got to get over. They can add some things in the movie. So little things like that bugged me.
True.
But moving on from that, two news about TV shows. First, Stranger Things Season 4 is coming out soon, and the teaser trailer was already launched, and it's pretty much showing you it's going exactly where you expect it to go by the way Season 3 ended. It's 3 was all about Russian, and it looks like Season 4 is going to be focused around Russia. Looks like they might be going to Russia or something, but I won't say any spoilers, but with the way Season 3 ended, you would know what I'm hinting at here.
I completely forgot that it was season 3, and in my mind, when you said season 4, I'm like, wait, season 4 just ended. But then you're right, so
Yeah,
I can't argue the Almighty. I bow down.
as you should. So, moving on to our last TV show news, and that is The Witcher 3. With The Witcher 3, it ended, and now they just launched the new sales of 2020, the game sales, just recently. And since the end of The Witcher TV show, sales are up by more than 500% since the end of the show to now. So that's a huge increase for the game. Like, the game's about to oversell what it originally sold beforehand.
Oh yeah, that is what we talked about in one of the previous episodes. I think it was episode 37 or 36, where I didn't get exactly right with it, saying that it would be in the top 10 again, but the sales definitely increased.
Yeah.
And you forgot one more. I think Castlevania just got announced for a third 10 episode season that's premiering on March 5th.
See, that we knew they were confirmed because, as Netflix always says, this will be returning for another season. So we knew it was coming back, but I did not have the date. I'm excited because, did you watch that yet?
I still have to watch I'm so far behind on my Netflix. I'm finally catching up on the End of the Effing World season 2.
I kept seeing that pop up, and I kept meaning to. I never watched that, though.
It is so good. I mean, the first season was good because the first season's based off of a graphic novel, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it ended differently in the graphic novel. So they did leave it open for a season 2, but there wasn't a second graphic novel. So this is like completely,
Yeah.
going from the source material, and I guess it got the blessing of the artist, and It's good. It's really good. You'll have to watch that. But yeah, I still have to watch Castlevania. That's next on my watch list. And The Witcher. I still have to watch that.
The Witcher was really good. I even had my one friend who I was competing with. We were saying which is better, Mandalorian or Witcher. I was saying, yeah, Witcher way better, and he's like, no, Mandalorian. He finally watched The Witcher. He's like, yeah, dude, I submit. You're right. The Witcher takes the cake there. So The Witcher is really good. But oh, sorry, you gonna say something or?
Yeah, one thing I was gonna say. So speaking of the Mandalorian, there was this random piece of news today about the Mandalorian. WWE superstar Sasha Banks is reportedly set to appear in the Mandalorian season 2, which I found really weird. They say it's unclear at this point what exactly her role is going to be. She hasn't been on WWE television since early January, so I don't know if that means she's doing something now, but they also don't know if this is just a rumor, but it's something that's in reports, and I find it really weird. I just wanted to throw that out there. So if it ends up happening, it's going to be interesting. That's all I wanted to say on that.
There we go. So I'm going to move on to a little bit of the remainder news. We have Nintendo Switch, the greatest game for the Nintendo's coming out. Finally, it got delayed, and it's got its release date of, was it March 20th of this?
Are you talking about Animal Crossing? Because if you're saying that's
Animal
the greatest
Crossing
game,
New Horizon.
Can I reach across the screen and just smack you now?
Yeah, you can smack me for being right all the time. The best game on the Switch is coming out this month.
Second only to Luigi's Mansion 3, right?
Yeah, that's also a pretty great game too.
I hate you.
I loved Animal Crossing, and honestly, probably since Zelda has been dropping out, I haven't been caring about Zelda too much. It's probably the only game I really care for on the Switch actually now, so my joke is actually not that far from the truth.
Well, we will be getting to PAX East later, but that is supposed to be one of the playable games, so you may have a chance to actually play Animal Crossing.
I might be picking it up, and I might be, maybe if they allow it, I might be even streaming it.
Oh, they're not going to allow that, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But maybe they will, who knows? I mean, maybe you could sneak it in, no one's ever going to know, until you get a cease and desist letter to take down the video from your YouTube.
Probably. But my last bit of news before we move on to our PAX East information. We have a little bit of information about the games we're going to be talking about and seeing at PAX East. So we have all the demos that we'll probably be looking at and playing and talking about much more. Right now, all we know, Resident Evil 3 Remake. So far, what we know is it's going to be following, if you played the old school one, it'll be following the story with Jill and Carlos going through Raccoon City. It's going to play like they're keeping it the horror aspect, and they're opening it up, and I'm pretty sure they're having like Mr. X Nemesis is going to be always constantly hunting you. So it's not, they're taking the mercenary mode out, which I'm a little disappointed with. I really love the mercenary modes in 3, but they're taking that out, and instead they're adding, I think it's either a new mode in the game or it's an actual side disc game on its own. It's kind of a 4v1 Resident Evil
game.
Yeah,
that's supposed to be like that's supposed to be their attempt at like a Dead by Daylight kind of thing, but set in the Resident Evil universe. It's gotten pretty mixed reactions from a lot of people, so they were including it in the pre-order.
Yeah, so that's where it's pretty much Resident Evil Resistance, and I guess it's replacing the mercenary mode instead, which I like the merc mode better. But the way that game is set up, it's like if you played other games like this, it's the same way. 4 players, they need to get from the start to the end and go through this arena. Well, the 5th player, the person who's in charge, is called the mastermind, they call it. And they're going to be, instead of actually interacting themselves, they're placing all the zombies and all the bosses and everything on the map. So it's kind of like D&D style, where they'll be the dungeon master, building the arena, setting up all the traps, all the monsters, and sending them at you, and you have to take them out and get to the end.
Yep, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be playing out. Now I'm wondering if it's going to be playable at PAX East. I haven't heard anything one way or the other.
The demo,
like I said, the demo for that. A lot of people are bashing this, but I mean, I think a lot of what it is like we've talked about in the past. there's fatigue from the whole like 4v1, 5v1.
Oh yeah.
There's like just a fatigue from it right now, and I think that's where a lot of some of the heavy criticism is coming from. But maybe it might actually end up being a good game. I mean, it might suck. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah, we'll see once we'll find out once we go down to E3, our PAX East.
that's being ambitious. This is our first one convention at a time here.
Yeah. But I did have one more. Oh, yeah. Before I move on from Resident Evil 3, the collector's edition. People have been asking a lot about this, and it's finally been announced. What is the collector's edition? Is you will get the standard edition game, of course, with the bonus DLC, such as Classic Costume Pack, which will bring all the old school costumes from like Jill Valentine from Resident Evil 1 and a bunch of other ones. If you pre-order on the PlayStation 4, you'll get a dynamic theme for the PlayStation 4. The collector's edition also it's coming with a limited 11-inch figurine of Jill Valentine, which will go perfectly side by side with the limited time Leon figure if you got that with the Resident Evil 2 collector's edition, and of course all the extra.
How much is this going for? This is sounding expensive. This is sounding at least $129. I'm telling you, I don't know, or 99, or
it's usually like 150 to 200.
Oh, so I'm underselling this, man. I feel like people are going to love that Jill Valentine figure, and it's going to make very.
Oh yeah, people go crazy for them, but if you get it, they're limited, so they're going to be really rare and hard to get. So I'm pretty sure
I'm buying it, putting it
out.
up on eBay next day. No, I'm kidding.
I tried to get it; it's already sold out. So that shows how fast they went.
You will see it on eBay for like $600, though. You know it. You know.
The Leon one's already on eBay for $900. I just looked up the price, and it's the cheapest one's $900.
Damn! I wonder what the cheapest one that sold is. That I'm curious to see, like how it did as far as selling.
Yeah.
I'd be very curious to see how that. That's another topic for another day. eBay and scalpers. We can talk about that for hours.
Yeah. But our last two more. The one gaming news and one gaming review. The last gaming news was, it's just a quick thing. It's something we posted. We didn't have our podcast last time, so it's just recapping that from what we post on our page. If you follow us, EA and Maxis confirmed the new Sims game coming, which is about time it's due, and it will be a multiplayer game, which is what we've been talking about. We've been trying to get Sims 4.
Because we've been trying to find a mod for 4 and everything to get that. So that would have, people have been clamoring for that for a while. They've been, saying, hey, we want multiplayer. We want to be able to visit our friends in real time. And my only question, though, is, does that mean that your Sims are, like, active all the time? So, say, for example, I come and visit your house, and I accidentally set it on fire and kill you. Now, when you log in, do you see, like, in other games, like, where say, like, for an Ark, for example, where you log in, your tribe's been, your base has been completely destroyed, and so is it like a situation like that?
I'm gonna say no. It's probably gonna follow the mod where it's only you both to play in that game. You both have to be on that line at the same time.
Oh, at the same time, so you can't just go visit and I'm mad. I'm getting my vengeance.
Yeah, so I won't be logging on seeing you burning my house down.
I mean, it'd be a competition to see who could kill each other's Sims more.
You'd be logging on, and you'd see your Sim boarded up in the pool. You'd be like, what the hell?
My God. I hope someone makes a mod for that. Please, modders, please do this.
But moving on to the final thing before we move into PAX East with half the show left. I said last podcast we had I would be buying and playing and giving a full review the next podcast we had, and here it is. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot launched 3 weeks ago now in January, the end of January.
Yes,
I have picked it up.
Streaming it.
I have been streaming it. I've been playing a lot of it. So here's my review for it. Right now, if it didn't have stiff competition this year with Resident Evil 3 remakes, Final Fantasy 7 remake, The Last of Us 2, Cyberpunk, all of these games giving it a huge run for its money. I would say if it came out in a year that we didn't have a whole bunch of big games, this is definitely a top game for Game of the Year, for me, my opinion at
Oh
least.
damn. Well, I
But,
think at the very least it might win one of the side categories.
oh yeah.
Whatever the game awards figures it falls into. Because sometimes I don't know how they do their categories.
Yeah, don't know either. But the review for it. So it's an open world game. You follows the basic storyline. You'll have all your basic people. You switch between all the characters. It's open world, so when you're not doing your story mission, you can fly around. So you'll go start a mission, you'll do your thing, and then you'll have free roam. You can go around, collect items, power up, do side quests. It's a lot of fun doing all that. The move sets and the combat is actually a lot of fun. There's a bunch of little things like I like in the food wise. You eat food to get temporary buffs, and if you eat enough, you get all these permanent buffs that strengthen you. And I love how it follows the storyline of Dragon Ball Z, but it also derives and shows you little side stories that you didn't see in the anime, little things like filler stuff that I actually enjoy. So
I just love that it looks like you're watching the anime when you're playing it.
yeah, it's
Like
good
that was the
graphic.
most impressive. The art style was phenomenal. Like I was
Yeah.
just blown away by that.
Yeah, art and the graphic they did really good on. The voice acting's pretty good. There's some people that I'm like, I don't like that voice actor for them, but otherwise the voice is pretty good.
So out of a 10, what would you give it? What would your
I'm putting this at a 9 out of 10.
a 9? I was gonna say
Yeah,
8.5. I was expecting an 8.5, but 9 works. 9 is
yeah,
within my realm of. So that's all we got for gaming, correct? We I want
that's
to make
it.
sure.
We're gonna move on to our PAX East information.
Oh Lord, yes, and I'm gonna make sure my mic is on because sometimes I mute myself and then I realize, that I'm not actually talking.
So
But
before we go in, well, this is part of PAX East. The
yeah,
biggest thing for PAX East before we go into all of our other things, if you want to check out, we will be posting live right after two things. All the demos we will be playing there, and all the news we get, we will be posting live on Twitter. I know,
Twitch, Facebook,
yeah,
all of it.
Jester TRT on Twitter, and I think yours is TG Lord Shamrock.
I am still Sean Shamrock on Twitter. I debated on changing it to to match my Twitch, but for now, because my YouTube is still Sean Shamrock, I gotta keep
Yeah.
some sort of uniformity there. But
So
you
that'll
know,
be a big one for the news, getting it right as we find out. We'll be posting. Check out our Twitters and follow us, and you'll be able to keep up to date with everything that's
and
going
of course
on.
on the Gamer Jesters Facebook as well, I'll probably be definitely live streaming at least on there once or twice for some things, maybe walking around the convention. But yeah, speaking of the convention, we have a lot to talk about as far as that. One of the big things I want to mention right away is Microsoft is not having a presence this year at PAX East. Normally they do. I think it's all hands on deck for Xbox Series X. They're just prepping for that, so they have nothing to really show off or nothing to really show in their booth, except for the cloud-based, when they move to the cloud-based Game Pass system. I think
Cloud
that's the only
base.
other thing they got
I
going
forget
for
this
them.
game.
PlayStation will be there, of course, with their big games. What do they call that? The Last of Us 2 and Part 2, and
Last
what
of
the
Us.
heck is that other one? I'm blanking out on there. They have something. Oh, God, you're gonna kill me. Sorry. Final Fantasy remake. Sorry.
I was
Like,
waiting, and because I have the trailer. If you're watching this on YouTube, the trailer's playing right here for us. This is the
and that's
first
that's gonna
five
be the
minute.
funny part because I'm not watching on YouTube right now. It's playing in the background. What could it be?
What is it as it's playing right beside you?
Yeah, so just be known, people, I'm not watching on YouTube at this precise moment. Okay, I am looking at my screen to catch all the updates I have to share about PAX East and everything. But
And if you're interested, this playing right now is the opening, the full opening of the game. It launched, they showed the very first, the complete cutscene. So that's just playing here while we talk.
well, this falls in with my tips and tricks. So if people are going to PAX East, and this is for us too. This is not just for us, but this is for if you're going to PAX East. I've been looking for some tips and tricks for first timers, considering we are going to be first timers as well. But if you're definitely going, one of the things to download right away is the PlayStation Experience app, because they will have slots where you could reserve playtimes for some games. And when the slots open up, they go quickly. So you have to act. It's usually, people say it's like 10 o'clock the night before, and then some people say it's like the day of the show. So be vigilant, be
We
looking
have
on that app. Definitely be, if you see an opening, take it because you don't know when you'll get another chance. Because otherwise, lines get really long, especially for the big games. Last year, people were reporting that Bethesda had 3-hour wait times for some of their games, and some people didn't even get in. So to get
yeah,
to play those certain games. So
that's rough. So we got to find right away what times they are and
um,
get in like really quick.
yeah, so that's the thing. When you see it open, and that goes for both of them. That goes for that goes for PlayStation. That goes also for Nintendo. Whatever they're showing off with, I believe Animal Crossing. Like I said, is going to be one of them. They have another game that was kind of on that was coming up, but I completely, honest to God, forgot what it was called. I think not Devil May Cry because they just released that. Gods and Monsters was one of the big things they showed off at E3 last year. And you play as a hero who's out to save gods using powers granted them by the gods of Olympus. So there's this whole thing, and it's got this unique looking art style. It's from the creators of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, so it's supposed to be a good game. I think they might be showing it off. Don't quote me because they haven't said anything else on it since E3, but there's a big chance it could be making an appearance because it's supposed to come out this year. So there is that. But I did want to share some tips and tricks. And I had my whole had my whole list pulled up, and now I
While you're
kind of
pulling
lost
it
it.
up, I'll fill in the filler. If you
Yes, please
also
do.
follow on Jester TRT on Twitter, I will be making a document if anyone wanted to meet and talk with us or see what times we'll be live and all that. I'm making a spreadsheet of our schedule, when we'll be doing what panels we'll be seeing, which we'll be streaming, what times we'll be doing. So we're gonna do a sit down podcast live together at the
Yes,
convention.
that's another one that's coming up. But speaking of, one of the tips is build a schedule, but make sure you're flexible with your schedule because PAX East is packed the entire weekend. It's infamous for its long lines and wait times, which we were just talking about.
Yeah.
At downloading the app. So especially with the PAX East app, if you are going, the PAX East app is critical because you can do so many things on it. You can see everything. First of all, they give you a map where they can GPS track you in the building, so you could literally navigate to a booth if you need to. Like if you are that directionally challenged, you could. It's like the IKEA app basically. Like if you ever been in an IKEA store, you could like navigate around IKEA with their app. So PAX East is doing the same thing. And you could also click on which like panels you're interested in and add it to a schedule. So then it will actually send you alerts as to when. And the best one, the most underrated one, is they have a line estimator type thing where you can go and you could see how much of a wait time and things like that, or how long lines are for certain things. So you'll click on something and it will say line is blah 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 long. So
Huh. That's
that's
probably my favorite thing, seeing how long the lines are, knowing
mhm.
when to go, what to avoid because we missed it. Line's too long.
Yeah. So it definitely tells you that, and then just some other common sense things is like dress comfortably, and wear shoes that you can breathe in, of course, and because you're gonna be on your feet, and that's for if you're there about 12 hours, gonna so even
Mm.
cash is the other big one. I know a lot of vendors, they will take cards, but depending on where you are in the arena or in the convention center, you may not have service, or their Square reader may not have service. So it is recommended to bring, at least $100 if you're spending money, that is, because to have a backup in case you get somewhere and you can't. Because the other thing is, take your cash out before you get there, because they allegedly last year had reports where the ATMs got low and ran out of money.
Hmm.
So that was another big
I see it
issue.
too.
So, and then with the fees on top of that, so you're paying your bank fees plus a convention center fee, which they're not cheap at convention centers. They're at least $3 to $5 per withdrawal. So on top of whatever your bank is. So I mean, and the only other thing is, just network with people. Don't be afraid to talk to people, which is, something we're gonna have to be like, oh, we gotta network with them. But everyone's there to experience it, so you never know who you're gonna meet. So that's basically like the central guidelines for how to enjoy your first time. So anything you think you could add to that, or is
No,
it
that's
pretty well
pretty much
covered? It's pretty-
pretty well covered for for that tip, the basics. Yeah, I can
so those
see.
are the
See,
basics.
that was one thing though. Going back to the dress comfortably, I've been going back and forth with if I want to cosplay for this, and I'm thinking no, I'm gonna drop that because of how long, how much we'll be running around. If we were
Mm.
closer to the hotel, I might, but we have a little bit of a hike, so I don't want to go back and switching back and
Yeah,
forth.
I was
So
going to do that as well. I was gonna try to do some sort of, but then I have to also think of I'm coming from down south, so I have to fly with all this crap. So it's like,
yeah,
not this time, but maybe in the future because well, Boston weather can be unpredictable too. But the other thing I also forgot to mention, after parties are huge. A lot of places are having after parties. So if you're into that kind of thing, look into them in advance because some of them they require you to have registered in advance through sites like Facebook or Eventbrite or whatever ticketing site they use. Some of them do charge an admission fee, and some of them are free. Obviously, the free ones are better, but because they're cheaper.
yeah.
It's like, nothing beats free.
No, that's true.
I just wanted to throw the after parties out there because I know I completely forgot about it when I was talking about it, and I want to go to one or two of them.
Yeah, we'll have to find a list and get on some of the lists.
And I would also recommend it's downtown Boston. There's tons of restaurants, tons of places to eat. So, of course, if you bring your own snacks and water and stuff like that, that's cool. But if you're looking for a meal, just if you're gonna pay $12 for nachos at the convention, I don't know if that's what they are. You know, for
Probably.
it's probably not unrealistic for nachos at the convention. Just go to like a pub down the road because you're gonna pay $12 for the same for nachos that are much better quality. So that's just my
Yeah.
helpful tip there.
From all the cons I go to, yeah, they bump the price way up and it's bad. So it's always better just to take like the time and just leave and go find somewhere outside of there. It's
It was like when we went to that one con in Philly and we were like, let's go to Target and buy a snack. Was it Target or something? I don't know what it was. I think it was Target, and
went
we bought
full
like
costume.
yeah. And then I got a picture with that guy who was like, what was a Harry Potter type guy, and he was like, oh my God, James, and
Yeah.
good times, good times. But I don't have anything else to add to any of this, so I think unless you have anything that you want to add, I think we're good to close it out.
Which
Well,
we did perfect. We're about coming up to our time now, so I thought we might go over it, so I was rushing the beginning, but we did perfect on time.
how about that? That rarely happens. So
So
round of
to
applause.
wrap us up, I just want to say, um, we will be down there. I don't think I showed the dates, but as of
Up there.
next week, February 26th, we will be driving down. The 27th, we will probably do a morning live stream. Thinking maybe when we first get there, Thursday is going to be slow on the panel. I was looking at all the stuff. I'll make the actual list and I'll post it, but Thursday is kind of slow. We'll probably be streaming a lot on that day and like socializing and
Yes.
talking with everyone.
And one more tip I forgot to add: battery packs, chargers.
Oh,
I think they have charging stations, but all they'll get full really fast.
yeah.
So if you have battery packs, bring those. I forgot to mention that. Common sense, but that's why I forgot to mention it. Common sense, but
I have a lot of stuff for us. I have a battery pack for myself, and I have a battery pack for you to use as well. And I have charging docks that we can use when we find an outlet. We can sit down in case they get low. We can also sit down and charge them up.
this will be fun. It's gonna be an interesting time. So, but we are signing off here again. To follow us with our PAX East adventures, you know where to get us. We are facebook.com/gamerjesters. You can find me on Twitter at Sean Shamrock, SHAWN, and
Oh,
him on Jester TRT on Twitter. Twitch is also Jester TRT for him, and my Twitch is TG Lord Shamrock. Those where you can find us because those will be our streaming channels the day of the weekend of the convention. Have a great night, guys.
and if you're watching on YouTube, you can get all the links below. Just just in case you are looking for them. And we'll see you
Okay.
guys at PAX East.